Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show on a Monday.
In the fifth season, Pickle. You see, here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and specifically Texas Football Today, we're of the belief that in Texas there are 5 seasons of the year, okay? Mm-hmm. There is fall, there is winter, mm-hmm. there is spring, there is summer, and there's the season that we're in right now, Pickle. And do you know what that season is?
Fraudum.
It's Fraudum. This is fake autumn, okay? It's a little cold. Hank had to wear a hoodie to school today.
About time that kid got a job.
Yeah. Started pulling his weight. He had to wear a hoodie. Don't fall for it, folks. You're smarter than this. You're smarter than this. You know the deal. You know the score here, okay? Give it a second. We're going to be back up in the 90s, like, I bet next week. I haven't even looked at the weather. I couldn't tell you if we're forecast to be into the 90s. You look that up real quick.
Yeah, I can do that.
I would bet you that sometime...
What's your guess? What day?
By Saturday, we're in the 90s.
Thursday is the first official 90s.
See, I'm telling you.
So, actually, Tuesday and Wednesday both say 89. So,
I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
And then we go 90 on Thursday, 95 on Friday, 99 on Saturday.
Okay, folks. What I'm saying is...
Don't get your hopes up.
We are in the middle of Fraudum.
Yeah.
Okay? Do not fall for this. Do not get your cold clothes out. Don't start decorating.
Just because it's 77 doesn't mean that it's not going to be 117 next week.
One day. This happens every year. Yeah. And I think you and I are really on the forefront of awareness for this. Mm-hmm. We're people who take this very, very seriously. So yeah, do not fall for fraud. Okay. We went to the Tepper family, the Tepper clan, yesterday. Went to, our church has an annual carnival.
Okay.
As like a fundraiser for God. And
yep.
So we went to the carnival, okay? I have a lot of questions about the economics of a carnival.
Okay.
Specifically, I am fair. Like Hank really wanted to do the bumper cars. They had bumper cars, right?
Yeah.
He really wanted to do bumper cars,
which makes sense.
So we did bumper cars.
Bumper cars rock.
When was the last carnival bumper car thing made? Because I am convinced that we made about every one that's in existence today. We made them in 1978.
Okay.
And they're the same ones.
Yeah.
I'm convinced.
That feels right. I mean, realistically, when you set up for the carnival, it's like those, like the mobile units that they bring in, and then they take it to the next location.
The next place. That's what this was. This was a mobile unit, and I'm convinced that we have only we haven't made a new one we haven't built a new one in at least 40 years. Mm-hmm. The newest bumper car ride is turning 40 this year. Is my contention.
Bumper cars rock.
Hank had a good time.
What's your favorite carnival ride?
I had to ride with him in the bumper cars.
Yeah, because he's not tall enough.
He's not tall enough to ride by himself. My favorite ride is trying to spend as little money as possible.
That is a ride.
It is a ride. And guess what?
Unsuccessful.
I threw up. Spiritually. I threw up. Did not win. Max they had a couple bounce houses. They also had a petting zoo.
Oh, solid.
That Max was into. He petted everything with the exception of the pig. He wouldn't pet the pig.
Aww.
I think he.
Why?
I think the pig.
Was it a big old pig or was it
it was a big old pig.
Like a little one.
A big old pig, and I think that is the one. This is. Maybe I'm giving my 2-year-old more credit than he deserves, but I think that he identified the pig as the thing most likely to eat him. Because
what else was in there?
There were ducks.
Ducks are more mean than pigs are.
But he didn't think that.
Well,
because you know why? Because ducks have good branding. Ducks have good marketing. Their PR team.
Well,
you're right.
You interact with ducks a lot from the feeding them bread type situation, which I think is not necessarily great for them.
But ducks are mean. You know this.
Yeah.
Ducks are mean, but they have great PR.
Yeah.
Think about how many nursery rhymes there are about ducks. Right? There was a goat. He petted the goat.
Goats are also
mean.
way meaner
That's what I'm
than
saying.
pigs.
But I think that, again, goats have good PR.
Goats are also small.
They're also
most of the
small.
time.
But he was really interested in the bunnies and stuff like that.
Okay. Bunnies can be mean too.
It was a good... Okay.
They really can.
I'm not gonna hear this rabbit slander.
No, I'm serious. You clearly didn't grow up around stock shows when people would show bunnies. They're not nice, and they smell bad all the time.
That is correct. I did not grow up around stock shows where people would show bunnies.
That was a big category. Some of those suckers were huge. They weren't your normal cottontails that you're thinking about.
This has been your country pickle
Dude,
moment.
we have a ton of bunnies around our house all the time.
There's a lot of bunnies around.
There's
a lot of bunnies running around my crib too.
Yeah.
Especially
if you wake up early enough and it's still dark outside, we'll go work out every now and then, and it's the whole slew of bunnies are just everywhere.
When I'm getting up and going on my run, it's me and the bunnies.
Yeah,
so
and I feel very outnumbered and very scared at multiple times.
Oh yeah, must have been a very satisfying spring, so to speak. Hit the theme, Expo. Yes, y'all. From the new Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful, scenic Lewisville, Texas, it's Texas Football Today, a show about football. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all those places, or you'll show us the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. It used to be known as Pitbull Stadium, but now it's just the control room because Pitbull Stadium has been trademarked. She is a Dutch to the Dorks. Miss 305, she's actually Pickle.
I thought you were calling me an it.
No.
When did I get demoted to it?
If I'm gonna be mean to you, I'm not gonna dress it up. I'm just gonna do it. You know what I mean? Hi, Ashley.
Hello.
Today is Monday, September 9th, 2024. Ooh, it's 9/9.
Some numbers are the same.
It is some number of days till Thanksgiving. 80 days until Thanksgiving.
Oh gosh, we gotta get going.
We really do. I'm telling you, we're running out of time. Legit
I need to have the actual phone call to my family.
Happy birthday to Adam Sandler.
Oh, nice. Happy birthday, Adam Sandler.
And happy birthday to a guy that also suffers from generic white guy face.
Oh gosh.
Happy 49th birthday to Michael Bublé.
I like Michael Bublé.
Exceptional singer. I've seen him in concert.
Yeah, I know. I was jealous. And you saw him in San Antonio.
Saw him in San Antonio. It's excellent.
Like two of my favorite things.
Anyway, it's episode 1797. On today's show, folks, big show.
Big show. Big beefy show.
We got Monday Morning Fallout. We're going to overreact to the football weekend, including just some chaos across the high school football ranks. Then we're going to be joined by the head coach, and this is the first time I've ever said this on this program. We've been doing this show almost 9 years. We're going to talk to the head coach of the Houston Northbrook Raiders.
About time.
Coach Damon Stafford is going to join us because Houston Northbrook is 2-0 for the first time since 2007.
Holy cow. Let's go.
We will talk to Coach Stafford, who's doing it in his first season at the helm, coming up here in a little bit. Then we're going to unveil the Week 3 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press Texas High School football rankings. We'll roll out the Dave Campbell's Texan Live Top 10 Plays of the Week, and then we'll round it all out with This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, our Director of Recruiting. And in final thoughts, remember, it's Mailbag Thoughts. So if you got questions, you'll get them in the comments, Facebook and YouTube. We will get to a couple, three of them. Somebody that I know says a couple, three. We'll get to a couple, three of them.
Just the math do not be math.
Coming up here at the back half of the program in final thoughts, so stick around with us. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was jersey number 69, nice. Joey Hill, Aaron Arbuckle, and Salty Vet. Welcome in, fellas.
Welcome in, friends. We appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with us because, boy, we've got a lot to get to. Pickle! Hit the air. It's Iron Time for Monday Morning Fallout. Monday Morning Fallout. When we overreact to the football weekend, and whoa doggy, do we have a lot to overreact to. A lot to get to in this here episode of Monday Morning Fallout. We will start with my opening kick, which is chaos comes to Texas.
Chaos.
Week 2 of the Texas high school football season is going to go down as one of the more eventful non-district weeks that we've seen in quite some time. Mm-hmm. We had 2 of the 3 longest winning streaks in Texas high school football, active winning streaks, come to an end. DeSoto and Gunner, both losing. We had, and this is true when we get to the rankings, we had a classification. I'll just spoil it for you. 2A Division 2.
Okay.
The top 10 in 2A Division 2 went 3-7 in week 2.
Not great.
It was absolute chaos. And one of the things that I think is actually kind of remarkable now is you take a look at the defending state champs, right? Take a look at the defending state champs and how many of them presently are undefeated, right? Duncanville is. Okay. DeSoto, not anymore. Aledo, nuh-uh. Port Neches Groves is, right? 4AD1 was Anna. They lost a game to a team from out of state. 4AD2, Gilmer. They're 0-2, right? Good teams, but still. Malakoff, 381, they're undefeated. 3A Division 2, Gunner, not undefeated anymore. 2AD1, Timpson, undefeated. 282, Albany, 0-2. And then both six-man teams, Gordon and Benjamin, are undefeated. I wonder, this is me wondering in this overreaction Monday, if we are heading for, especially at the higher classifications, 6A and 5A, maybe lump 4A in there, if we are heading for an upheaval, if we are heading for the first time in quite a while, a much more wide open race. Because I want you to think about 6A last year. 6A D1 felt like a march towards North Shore Duncanville Volume 5, right? 6A D2, I think we all agreed that DeSoto entered as a pretty prohibitive favorite to go back-to-back.
Yes.
Right? And they got a scare against South Lake Carroll, but that was essentially it. That was really where it was. At 6A, there hasn't been that upheaval. 5AD1 last year, we were all waiting for Aledo. It was Aledo or the field.
Right.
Right? And 5AD2, I would make the argument to you that while it didn't feel like a foregone conclusion, P&G and South Oak Cliff felt like the most natural title game. The game that was most likely. Take a look at those four divisions now. 6AD1, 6AD2, 5AD1, 5AD2. What are you sure about?
Not much.
Here's what I'm pretty sure about.
Duncanville looks good.
Duncanville looks pretty good.
North Shore looks pretty good.
That it? Port Neches Groves looks pretty good. Port Neches Groves hasn't done anything wrong. Port Neches Groves.
I think that it will become a lot clearer what we can feel like on DeSoto this week. Because if they come back and look vengeful, and like now they've got, like, maybe they needed that to be able to have a chip on their shoulder, and then they just start pummeling people, it also wouldn't surprise me if they make it back.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm not burying, to be clear, I'm not burying anyone.
I'm also very interested to see what DeSoto and Duncanville looks like now, too, because Duncanville likely could run through North Crowley now. It come playoff time.
Really interesting weekend of high school football that really got me thinking about a lot of things, because some of the things are getting turned on their head. I mean, we got two state champions that are 0-2 in Gilmer and Albany. Anyway, it's my opening kick. Game of the week. Pickle, did you see what happened with Paris and Pleasant Grove?
Wild man in the fight every time.
Okay. Paris 7, Pleasant Grove 0.
Real high-scoring affair out there.
And Pickle, allow me to tell you, do you know what the touchdown was?
I don't, actually.
Paris had a 99-yard interception return for a touchdown from Malik Johnson, and then came back, and that was all they needed. It was one play. It was one defensive play that is quite literally as defensive a game as you can get. Like, basically outside of 2-0, right? The only points came from defense on a pick six from Paris. We had some questions about Pleasant Grove. I think they're going to be fine. They're growing. They're young. But that's a really nice win for Paris. And more importantly, that is the game of the week. Pretty remarkable stuff there from Paris and Pleasant Grove. Now time for Tepper's Play of the Week. And I went digging. And this was a game we were spotlighting, or we had highlights from. Yeah,
courtesy of our friends at Vipe.
At Dave Campbell's Texas Football Tonight on Friday night. We had an eye on Cedar Park and Vandergrift. Vandergrift, by the way, or Cedar Park, I believe, has now played 7 overtimes in their first 2 weeks. Jeez. So that seems cool. But they came away with a big win over Vandergrift, and here's how it sounded, courtesy of our friends at Fight.
Playbrook, Bo and Travis split way out there on the numbers on the left side. Jamal Porter, the H-back. Trey Hill bumps over from right to left. Noah Wallace, the solo receiver, man in motion is, there we go. I like this play call. Play action. Fires one over the middle, and he's going to get it. Cedar Park wins it in the second overtime. David Cooper, Bowen Travis Game over!
Oh my God, that was incredible. That's the early front runner for high school Call of the Year.
What's his name? He calls himself Josh Willard on the call. There.
Oh,
he calls
nice.
himself the Willard of Oz on the call there. I had to include the part where you can very clearly hear him high-fiving the guy in the background. So good. Play of the game, play of the week.
Incredible.
As Cedar Park walks off Vandergrift. A big win for the Timberwolves. An early nominee for Call of the Year.
Yeah.
Very good.
Rightfully so.
From Josh Willard. Dude of the week. Which dude duded the hardest this week? I present to you the performance of Sudan quarterback Caleb Grotkin. Okay, now you're probably not paying a ton of attention to what Sudan's got going, which is shame on you. Mm-hmm. But they played a wild. I have this here for a moment. They had one of the highest scoring games we've seen in quite some time this past week, as Sudan beat Tahoka 67-60, second highest scoring game of the year. And Caleb Grotkin, the quarterback for the Hornets of Sudan, threw for 287 yards and 3 touchdowns. He also ran for 242 yards and 3 touchdowns. And because it's 2A, he kicked 7 extra points.
Let's go.
Caleb Grotkin from Sudan, this week's Dude of the Week. Now it's time, Pickle, to bring back a very beloved segment here on Texas Football Today, where we're a high school football show, first and foremost. Mm-hmm. It's what we do. But we do like to dig into the NFL. The NFL is a hot topic these days. And so we've once again reached a contract agreement with the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Today, chief NFL correspondent. Here with the NFL Minute from Week 1 is our chief NFL correspondent, my mom.
Hi, this is Tip Mom for the NFL Minute. I'm going to highlight the Cowboys' win over the Browns 33-17. On offense, C.D. Lamb went to Richmond Foster High School. He had 5 catches for 61 yards. Deuce Vaughn, who went to Round Rock Cedar Ridge, had 1 carry for 4 yards. Terrence Steele is a right tackle on offense. He went to Cibolo Steele and Texas Tech. And Cavante Turpin had his first NFL touchdown punt return for 60 yards. He went to TCU for 3 years. On defense, highlighting DeMarvin Overshawn, he had 1 stack, 5 solo tackles, and he went to UT in ARP High School. All the best. Bye.
Thanks, Mom. The NFL Minute with our chief NFL correspondent, my mom. So, thanks, Mom.
That was a lot of stats. Like, and she dialed that up off the dome. That was impressive.
She's doing the research. Look.
That one's impressive.
Think about how many NFL insiders there are out there.
Yeah, if you got to be the best.
We landed on her.
Yeah.
You might think that's a nepotism hire.
Can promise you it's not.
Stock up. La Jolla Palmview. We paying attention to what the Lobos got cooking?
Yeah.
They are now 2-0 after, remember, 3-7 last year. They are certainly on the rise. And what they did this past week, beating Roma 28-14, heading in the right direction. They got a win over. They got a win now over PSGA Southwest and Roma. They're going in taking on Brownsville Lopez this week. They have got a great shot to be 3-0. Keep an eye on the Lobos of La Jolla Palmview, who I think are already turning some heads. Keep an eye on La Jolla Palmview. Stock up. Stock down. Klein Collins. What's going on here? Remember, this is a team that started the season, started the year in our top 25. I want to say even in our top 20 in Class 6A. And now, 0-2 and kind of riding the struggle bus. Okay, this is a team that their 2 losses. They kind of got drummed by Willis this past week, 40-7. Right, not good. Their other losses to College Station is a tough loss, but that is a 5A team, right? They go into district play this week. I'll just say this. They go into district play this week against Tomball. You win this game, nobody cares what you did in non-district, because then you're off on the good foot in the games that matter. But for a team that we thought was going to be really contending at potentially at the highest level, it's a rough start for the Tigers. Now it's time for the Matt Step, he got that dog in him, player of the week.
And now, the Matt Step. He got that dog in him. Player of the week.
What's up, y'all? Matt Step, Dave Campbell's Texas Football from my truck. And it's time for the Week 2 Matt Step. He got that dog in him award winner. And the winner of the Week 2 Matt Step, he got that dog in him award winner is none other than Cibolo Steel wide receiver and SMU commit Jalen Cooper. In Saturday night's win over San Antonio Reagan, Jalen had 7 catches for 228 yards and 3 receiving touchdowns as the Steel offense put up 62 points in a big win over San Antonio Reagan. Congrats, Jalen. You, sir, have got that dog in you.
This has been the Matt Step He Got That Dog in Him Player of the Week.
There we go. Matt Step picking he got that a player each week who's got that dog in him. Congratulations to him. My final shot here is about the 2 biggest wins of the week. And we're going to talk a lot about North Crowley's big win over DeSoto. That's a seismic victory for the Panthers. The biggest, I said it on Texas Football Tonight, it's the biggest win for that Panthers program since they won the title in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Other massive wins across the state. I would propose to you, Pickle, that there were 2 games that I think were the biggest wins of the weekend.
Okay.
In fact, 3 of them. Austin Aikens defeated Bastrop Cedar Creek 49-29 to snap a 26-game losing streak. La Jolla Juarez Lincoln defeated Donna North 28-21 to snap a 33-game losing streak. First win since 2019. Think about that.
That's insane. That's how long I've been here.
And perhaps the biggest win of the week. Progresso 48, Riviera Coffer 0.
The Red Ants.
The Red Ants in the win column for the first time in 36 tries.
Wow.
Congratulations to those 3 teams, which, again, one of the things we're going to focus a lot on, like the rankings. We're going to roll out the rankings. Spoiler alert, Progresso's not going to be ranked.
Right.
But you want to talk about victories.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about what's probably a pretty fun Monday practice.
Oh, yeah.
For the Red Ants of Progresso. Congratulations to them. Big doings there. Congratulations to them on the biggest win of the week. And that is Monday Morning Fallout. We're Texas Football Today. We're here twice a week, Mondays and Thursdays, here on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Hope you'll consider going to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber. Get 2 magazines and, as importantly, get a year of Dave Campbell's Texan Live, our streaming platform. How many football games we do this past weekend?
Like 67.
67
70.
live high school football games on your device as part of a subscription to Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Makes a great gift as well. Do it for $9.99.
Yep.
Some numbers are the same. And the number that can be the same is the number you put your credit card number into the TexasFootball.com/subscribe.
Yep.
Coming up here in just a moment, what's it like to be 2-0 for the first time since 2007? We'll ask Houston Northbrook head coach Damon Stafford exactly that. But first, a word from these valued partners.
Hot days. Call for cold coffee. So grab great tasting community coffee, make your favorite cold beverage, and get your chill on all season long. Family owned since 1919, Community Coffee has spent 5 generations roasting blends right here in the USA. Shop now or find it near you at communitycoffee.com.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Hey DFW residents, get your grocery essentials in minutes, not hours or days, with Wing Drone Delivery. Forget about last-minute trips to the store when you need things like cereal for breakfast before school, medicine for a cold, or snacks for a movie night. Wing's drones get you quick, no contact delivery in as fast as 15 minutes. Say goodbye to last-minute grocery runs and say hello to more of your valuable time. Sign up today.
Back here on Texas Football Today. And Pickle, let's go to the hotline. Let's go down Houston way to talk to the head coach of the 2-0 Houston Northbrook Raiders. That's a sentence I've never said before. We're pleased to be joined by Coach DeMont Stafford. Coach, how are you?
Doing pretty good, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on today.
How's the vibe around Northbrook these days?
The vibe is definitely very, very positive. A lot of people excited. Kids work really hard to kind of put themselves in position, and so they deserve to have a little bit of excitement going on these days.
The Raiders are 2-0 for the first time since 2007, a remarkable statistic, and there's a lot to dive into, but I want to go back to May, when you leave Pasadena Dobie to go over to take over at this Northbrook program. And I think there are some people, I'll raise my hand here, who are thinking, what the heck is DeMont Stafford doing to leave to go to a program like Northbrook, which has not had a ton of success? So obviously, things are working out pretty well for you. Can you tell us a little bit about why Northbrook was the right move for you?
The thing about it is, as a lot of coaches will probably say, the challenge. In this business, we're all drawn to challenges, whatever they may look like. Being in Pasadena Dobie, that was my second time being there, and we were able to accomplish what me and a lot of assistants who stayed on that staff from the past wanted to do. When the job opportunity at Northbrook came about, it definitely hit my coaching heart, so to say. The idea of being at a place like Northbrook was very similar to my time at Sam Rayburn. We were fortunate to be able to get some good things going at Sam Rayburn. And so when the job opportunity at Northbrook came, I knew that was the job for me. Plus also one of the best ADs in the state, Ms. Paige Hershey. They run a quality, athletic program, and Northbrook is where I wanted to be.
You guys are now off to a 2-0 start, and a large reason why is because of the defense. 7-0, a big win this past week over Houston Springwoods. I'm sure you'd love to win that game by a larger margin, but the defense is getting it done. What has been working for your defense so far through these first two games?
Well, one thing I'll say about our defensive coordinator, Mark Chapa, me and him worked together for 10 years. We've been at the last 4 schools together, and so we have a great relationship. But he's been able to, keep things simple, take our talent, put it in position to be able to be effective. And those guys have bought into the things that he's done on that side of the ball. And, it sounds cliche, but we keep it simple on defense. Kids run to the football, and we got a great result on Friday.
This is, you guys are off to this 2-0 start. Not to put too fine a point on it, this is a program that in the previous, in the previous 6 years combined had won one game. So when you enter here and you take over late in the process, by the way, take over in May, what was your message to your guys when you addressed them for the first time to help spark this turnaround?
The biggest thing I tried to get across to them is the 24 football season is the 24 football season. Nothing in the past has anything to do with any of us that are on this team or this coaching staff that we're going to put together. The year 2024 is a blank page, and we can write anything we want on that page. So those kids kind of really, really dug into that idea that, the things that have happened in the past, no matter what the year is, has absolutely nothing to do with us moving forward. And I think the kids have clearly understood that, and they've written a great story so far.
Talking with DeMont Stafford, the head coach of the Northbrook Raiders here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. All right, Coach, 7-0, you put them in they don't ask you how, they ask you how many, right, to win. The offense, in the first game, you guys had really kind of exploded out of the gates and looked really sharp offensively. I take a look, kind of watching your tape, the biggest difference for me, and I am a former offensive lineman, so I want to make sure I give some love to the big boys, because I got to tell you, I think the difference on the offensive line is night and day. What can you tell us about the work that your guys are doing up front?
Well, guys up front, our offensive line coach is Corwin. Matt Corwin and Kenyo Hunter have really, since the first day, kind of created a systematic approach to, working our schemes. We don't employ very many schemes like a lot of schools, but we've kind of gone double and triple in on the coaching staff to work with the offensive line. I think that's made a huge difference, giving those guys some continuity to be able to just, work the same things, have a lot of eyes on them. And those are some guys that don't play defense in our program. And so we've really been all in on the offensive line play to give those guys the best chance to thrive. And so far, they've done a pretty good job.
I want to ask you now about it's on to the next one, because 2-0 is fun, but 3-0 is even better. You guys this week take on an Aldine team that's sitting there in a 1-1. It's an opportunity to move to 3-0 for what feels like the first time since time immemorial. I know you're in the lab getting ready for them, but when you take a look at what you're going to be up against this week against Aldine, what do you see?
Well, Cirillo Ojeda, he was over at Pasadena as an offensive coordinator during my time in Pasadena ISD. He does a great job. He's putting his team in a position to, have a chance to be competitive in this game, and it should come down to the wire. I feel like, given everything that we've done, us versus them, I feel like it'll be a highly competitive game. And just like most coaches, we want to have a chance to try to win it in the fourth quarter. If we can do that, I'll be super proud of these kids. And I think our community and our staff will be just as excited. Just want to have a chance in the fourth quarter and see if our hashtag TPW can come through in the fourth quarter. That's our goal.
And finally, Coach, I just need to ask you a little bit about, we talked a little bit at the beginning about the vibes around the program. Example, like practice this morning, right? Can you sense a difference in these guys now with the kind of, the victories they've been able to stack up and the success they've been able to have? Can you sense within your program a buzz that maybe wasn't there when you first arrived?
Absolutely. These guys, they have not been late to any workout. They hold each other accountable. We just got finished doing special teams and some weightlifting, and everybody's on time. Everybody's ready to go. I've never seen a more dialed-in group from my time of first getting here until right now. They're chomping at the bit, ready to go play Aldine for this homecoming game this week. He's
Damon Stafford. He's the head coach of the 2-0 Northbrook Raiders. Coach, we sure appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the great start, and let's go get 3-0 this week.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys, man. You guys do a great job. Everything you guys do for Texas high school football and the coaches, and I'm definitely honored to be part of your show this week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate you. There he goes. Damon Stafford, head coach, Northbrook Raiders. That was like I fell over my chair trying to book him once we saw that they were 2-0, because that's a remarkable job. This is Northbrook is I don't want to pile on here. It's one of the most downtrodden programs in all of 6A. I'm looking at this right now. This is the first time they've won multiple games in a season already since 2015.
That's crazy.
Okay, and they're off to a 2-0 start. They've given up, I think it's 7. I have this pulled up. They've given up 12 points all year in 2 games, and they're getting it done. They're winning on the margins, and that's super exciting for a guy in Damon Stafford coming over from Dobie to take over a program like Northbrook and spark some life into them. That is really, really exciting, and we appreciate him taking a little bit of time to chat with us. We are Texas Football Today. We're here Mondays and Thursdays here on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Pickle, it's now time to roll out the Week 3 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press Texas High School Football Rankings. Of course, Dave Campbell's Texas Football has long produced the state's most respected Texas High School Football Rankings, and we have been the official rankings provider of the Associated Press since 2019. So when you hear that so-and-so is number 1, they're talking about us. As these are the rankings that people are using. And so after a wild and woolly week that caused us to do a little bit of adjustment, we've got some rankings for you, including a new number 1 in Class 6A. Let's roll it out. The Duncanville Panthers ascend back to the number 1 spot with their win over South Oak Cliff. Galena Park North Shore now up to number 2. North Crowley up to number 3 in the state after their thrilling win over DeSoto this past week, ending their 23-game winning streak. Austin Westlake stays the same at 4. DeSoto drops to number 5 after their loss. A lot of chalk after that, although Allen jumps up 4 spots with their win over Cedar Hill. Coppell up a spot to number 12. The Woodlands moves up 3 spots, as does Bridgeland. Full sheer now into the top 15 with a big win over Fort Bend Ridgepoint. Katie's loss to Atascocita drops them from number 11 to number 16. Denton Geyer still on the rise up to number 17 in this round. Rockwall remains the same after a narrow loss to Lake Travis. Fort Bend Ridgepoint drops 5 spots with their loss to Full Shear. Prosper leaps up 5 spots with a win to a win over the Woodlands College, or rather a win over Rockwall Heath, and 4 new teams into the state rankings. Klein Kane back into the state rankings with a win over the Woodlands College Park. Byron Nelson, with their thrilling win over Louisville on Dave Campbell's Texan Live, gets into the top 25 with a win over Louisville. Fort Bend Hightower beats Spring Westfield. That's good enough to get them up to number 23. And back into the rankings, the Willis Wildcats with a K. Big win over Klein Collins. That gets them the number 25 spot. Austin Vandergrift, Cedar Hill, San Antonio Reagan, and Dickinson crash out of the top 25 in Class 6A. On to 5A we go. 5A D1, not a whole lot of movement. Smithson Valley's loss this past week to San Antonio Brennan drops them out of the state rankings. As a result, everybody kind of nudges up a spot. Port Arthur Memorial stays the same at number 10, but new to the rankings at number 9, Pflugerville Weiss, now 2-0 on the year. They get a big game this week against A&M Consolidated, who is number 8 in the state. 5A D2, a lot more chalk here. We kept South Oak Cliff the same at number 2 again because, quite frankly, they're just punching up so high above their weight class, and their performance to us, there's nothing that indicates and nothing about their opinion. Our opinion has changed on South Oak Cliff because of these results. Everything else relatively chalky. Richland's big win over Colleyville Heritage drops Colleyville Heritage out of the rankings, and back into the top 10. Liberty Hill gets their wheels back on. They beat Leander Rouse to reclaim the number 10 spot. To 4A we go. 4A, a little bit of movement here, but the top 8 are all unchanged. Stephenville, Chapel Hill with their thrilling win over Gilmer, and Frisco Panther Creek plus Salina and Kilgore round out your top 5. Bay City crashes out of the rankings. That nudges Lake Dallas up to number 9. And new to the rankings, put some respect on those Pirates of Pine Tree. The Longview Pine Tree Pirates are the number 10 team in Dave Campbell's Texas football. 4A Division 2 now. 4A Division 2, a lot of change. Number 7, Pleasant Grove. Number 8, Waco La Vega. And number 9, Graham all crash out of the rankings. Sinton, as a result, nudges up to number 7. We dropped Gilmer from number 5 to number 6. Brock leapfrogs them simply because, Gilmer's 0-2, but at the same time they played they played Chapel Hill on the road and took them to the wire. I believe they were throwing into the end zone as time was expiring for the win. But the 3 new teams into the rankings. Number 8, Madisonville is 2-0 with their win over Navasota. Number 9, Seminole is 2-0 with their win over Shallowater. And number 10, Silsbee into the top 10 with their win over Little Cypress Mauriceville. To 3A we go, where there's a couple of other changes here. Paradise and Shallowater crash out from number 6 and number 8, respectively. Top 5 unchanged. Malakoff, Columbus, Franklin, Edna, big win over Bay City, and Bushland with their big win over Canadian. Hitchcock nudges up a spot. Pottsboro nudges up 2 spots to number 9. Grandview up two spots to number 10 or to number 8. And new to the rankings, the Leopards of Liberty Ilo, the number 9 team in Dave Campbell's Texas football after the win over Henderson. And after a big win over Dangerfield, the Eagles of Tatum are into the rankings at number 10 in 3A Division 1. 3A Division 2 was absolute chaos. We kept Gunner at number 1. I just don't think there's anything you can glean from punching up 2 full classifications. Plain and simple. And there's nothing, and it also helps that I don't know if there's anybody who played particularly well enough in week 2 or to necessarily grab them. The best argument would be Poth, who really took it to Fall City. But remember, that's a 3AD2 against a 2AD2. But Poth rises to number 2. Canadians lost to Bushland, drops them to number 3. Jacksboro up to number 4. Lexington up to number 5. Holiday up to number 6. Wall and Tidehaven, despite losses to Brownwood and Goliad respectively, remain at number 9 and number 10. But we do have 2 new entries as Dangerfield and Newton both crash out of the 3A Division II rankings. 2 new entries. Number 7, New Diana. The Eagles with a just really impressive romping over Gladewater, and East Bernard, now number 8 in the rankings after their win over the Woodlands Christian. To 2A, where this is a tale of 2 divisions. 2A D1, nothing to see here. They went 10-0. No notes. Everyone looked good. Top 5 remains unchanged. Ganado, Refugio, Honeygrove, Timpson, and Stamford. Garrison won a thriller over Arp, and Hawley took it to Albany. That takes us to 2A Division 2, where, as we mentioned in the open, the teams went 3-7. Now, a lot of them were punching up a classification, including Stratford, who lost in overtime to Panhandle. They remain number 1. Mart's win over Maypearl, which is a 3A team, vaults them up to number 2. Windthorst, with a win over a good 3A team in Wichita Falls City View, vaults them up to number 3. Munster drops a spot after losing to a 3A team in Holiday. Albany is down from number 2 to number 5 after punching up to a state-ranked 2A D1 squad, but they are now 0-2, and I have a couple concerns about that offense. Bremond loses to a decent Grapeland team. They remain the same at number 6. Shiner's now 0-2. They get skunked by Rice Consolidated. That is a 3A team. We dropped them from number 3 to number 7. Wellington beats a team from Oklahoma, moves them up to number 8. Lovelady... Okay, Collinsville's number 10, the new number 10 team in the state, after beating Cooper 38-2. Keep an eye on Collinsville. Lovelady played Timpson and lost 50-48. There's a real argument to be made that that's the second best result of the week in 2A Division 2. That a 2-point loss to a state-ranked 2A Division 1 team. Fall City crashes out after their loss to I just said it. Their loss to Poth. That's right, in the Polish Bowl. To 6-man football we go. 1A Division 1, where there's a little bit of shuffling, but it all kind of makes sense. Gordon remains the number 1 team in 1A Division 1. Abbott remains the same at number 2 in 1A Division 1. If we can go to the 1A graphics. Thank you. Whiteface moves up to number 3 with their win over Happy. Westbrook gets a win over Jonesboro. That vaults them up to number 4. May beats down Oglesby. They get moved up to number 5. Jonesboro drops to number 6 with their loss to Westbrook. Happy drops to number 7 with their loss to Whiteface. Good. State-ranked loss, right? The bottom 3 remain the same. Knox City, Newcastle, and Buena Vista. To 1A Division 2 we go, where there's a little bit of change. Benjamin's win over Follett was awfully impressive. That was a top 10 win for them. They vault up to number 3. Cherokee moves up 2 spots with their win over Lakey. Oglesby's loss to May drops them to 0-2 and drops them from number 3 to number 5. But again, it's a state. They now have 2 losses to state-ranked 1A Division 1 squads. Klondike loses to number 1 Jayton. We dropped them from number 3 to number 7, although I have some concerns because they weren't particularly competitive in that game. Sydney edges out Eden. Keep an eye on them. Whit Harrell gets a win over Hart. And new to the rankings as Follett crashes out, Rochelle, new to the rankings at number 10 with a win over Menard. To the private school ranks, we have a new number 1. San Antonio Holy Cross, the new private school number 1 team in 11-man. They get a win over San Antonio Christian. Argyle Liberty Christian has their long winning streak snapped as Texas High beats them 35-32, but we dropped them to number 2. That's a state-ranked 5A team. It's a pretty decent loss, but certainly 2-0 in what Holy Cross has done is worth being up there. Dallas First Baptist remains the same at number 3. Fort Worth All Saints up a spot with a win over Plano Prestonwood. And at number 5, Dallas Parish Episcopal back into the rankings with their win over Bel Air Episcopal. Bel Air Episcopal crashes out of the rankings. And the private school 6-man ranks. Houston Emory Weiner and Pasadena First Baptist remain number 1 and number 2 respectively. Decatur Victory Christian and Fredericksburg Heritage nudge up a spot to number 3 and number 4 with the loss of East Texas Homeschool. And new to the rankings, Corpus Christi Annapolis, the Warriors, now the number 5 team in our private school 6-man rankings. They beat up on Pawnee 68-0 to earn their number 5 spot in the private school rankings. So there they are, the Week 3 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press Texas high school football rankings. You can find all those rankings at texasfootball.com/rankings. This was a particularly challenging week of rankings. A lot of movement, as you can see, but you have to really judge who they're playing and the value of them, because we are still in non-district play. So those are the Week 3 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Associated Press rankings. You can find all those rankings at texasfootball.com/rankings. We are Texas Football Today. We're here Mondays and Thursdays here on texasfootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at texasfootball.com. A lot to get to in this big, beefy Monday recap edition of Texas Football Today. Reminder, we're going to be answering a couple of your questions. If you get your questions in on Facebook and YouTube in the comments, we'll answer three of them coming up here at the back half of the program in final thoughts. But right now, there's a big week of action across the Dave Campbell's Texan Live platform with tons of games. What'd you say, 66? Something like that?
Yeah, I think 67.
67 Texas high school football games scattered hither, scattered yon. We asked our friend Trevor Buller to put together the top 10 Texas high school football plays of the week. Here they are, the Dave Campbell's Texan Live top 10 plays of the week for week 2.
Torrey Hawks looking to drive down the field. It's going to be a pickoff in the middle by a lineman, I'm pretty sure. Number 40, number 10 actually. He's going to bring that one to the house. 10-5, touchdown Bucks.
Treadaway trying to slip a tackle. He does. Cuts back to the left side. He's got running room. Treadaway to the 15. Treadaway will score. Touchdown, Dawson.
Badland dropping back, looking.
Down, Dawson.
Badland dropping back, looking. Scrambling over toward the right. Throwing into the end zone. Has his man. Are they going to say that he got it? Yes, they are. Touchdown, Tomball.
Going deep, Bishop again. Oh my gosh. Jermaine Bishop is having himself a night.
Third quarter, Bearcats 26, Tigers 20. Give us to Guillory over the left side, trying to shake a blocker. Gets outside the numbers across the 40, 45, 50, mid to the 45 into Lancaster territory. Breaks a tackle. Off he goes. 30, 20, a man to beat at the 10 with a blocker in front of him. Dives to the end zone. Touchdown, Aledo Bearcats.
This is the madness that is Ray Gates and that offense. Jemerson looking deep. Q for 6. Q for 6. How about his 4th touchdown of the game? And North Crowley is on fire. They take the lead.
Goal at the 8. Low snap. Bizjack has pressure coming all the way. Gets away from one defender. Looking downfield. Fires across his body. And this is going to be caught. Back in the end zone. Touchdown. Byron Nelson Bobcats.
Here's Ditta. Ditta throws end zone. Caught! Touchdown! Patrick Colby, and the Cavaliers take the lead with 35 seconds left to go. 14 yards to number 14.
Like this might be a pass play, but DeAndre can take himself, of course. Can't find a receiver. Almost gets sacked, but evades it somehow. Throws it, and they're calling it a touchdown. It looks like he might have a foot.
Gets the snap. Looks like the defense was offsides. It's a free play. Cox looks in the back of the end zone. Is it caught? There's a wrestling match in the end zone. It's caught. The Cougars win.
The Cougars do win. It's the number 1 play, the Colony's game-winning 2-point conversion in overtime to beat Frisco Wakeland. On the Dave Campbell's Texan Live Top 10 Plays of the Week, a reminder, you can watch dozens and dozens of Texas high school football games live on your device at TexanLive.com. Become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. You know, I get a little lonely in here sometimes, but thankfully, that's why I have friends. I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. This is This Week in Crouton. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers, our director of recruiting here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScouts. He has fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And speaking of fine, this is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express. I kind of want to get like a dark meat combo right now.
This is like the perfect day for Chicken Express.
It's fraudum. We were talking about that. Like, it's fake autumn, so it's a little cold, but it's like, oh, I'll use that as an excuse to eat warm gravy. You know what I mean?
Just a wonderful day outside, and nothing can make it better except for chicken tenders.
Well, cross-stitch that on a throw pillow. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers. Hi, buddy.
What's up?
Did you have a good week?
I had a great week. Good. Really good football games, not only in high school, but college, too. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah?
NFL kicked off.
NFL did kick off.
There was a lot of football.
My fantasy team, though. Oh, ouch. Ouch.
We are not going to talk about your fantasy team.
Oh.
I mean that sincerely. We're not doing it.
Maybe it was bad for everybody. Somebody had to win, though, right? Like 50% of the teams had to win fantasy football.
It's This Week in Recruiting. Greg Powers, our director of recruiting. Let's start with our prospect on the rise. Our prospect on the rise, let's go to Katy Maid Creek to talk about their defensive end, the senior defensive end, Toby Hostrup. Greg Powers, the British invasion is here. Originally from London, this is the guy who has basically, he's never played varsity ball until this year, until like this week, essentially. And he's already exploded for 5 sacks. He's picked up 16 offers. This is the very definition of a prospect on the rise.
Yeah, no doubt about it. In less than a week, he got SMU, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, LSU, and Tennessee. This is the definition, like you said. This is the definition of an under-the-radar talent. I went back and watched like game film of him. Mm-hmm. The first play.
Yeah.
The very first play, it looks like he is shot out of a cannon to apply pressure on the quarterback. And then he doubled down, play number 2, got pressure again, and he's an edge setter. Like, a lot of fun to watch on tape. He's a ball of energy out there on the field, pinning his ears back, flying around, getting after the quarterback, and giving Maid Creek a nice 1-2 punch on defense with Cozy Okpala, 2026 linebacker who's picked up a lot of recruiting attention in his own right. Now, we hear about cool recruiting stories all the time in Texas. There's a lot of really good football players, but we don't hear about somebody going from no film, no varsity experience to blowing up like this overnight. Like, I mean, it was literally like one game, UTSA and UTEP come calling with offers, and then the floodgates just opened up.
This is a guy who's 6'4", 230, and obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, but these guys who are getting in the door and offering Toby Hostrup are saying, if he's this good with what can only be described as, like, let's say generously, a couple of years of coaching, imagine what I can do to form him into like an absolute menace off the edge. This is the kind of guy that the word raw springs to mind, and if he's this good raw, how good is he going to be polished?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he's not like the definition of technique up front or anything by any means or any stretch of the imagination at this point. But what he does have is moldable, and that's why he's starting to blow up. This is just a really cool Texas high school football story in general. It just happens now to be a recruiting story because every big school in the state is coming after him. As a matter of fact, he picked up some of those offers. Texas A&M came after him. LSU is offering him. Tennessee, like a who's who of college football now is after this kid.
It's pretty remarkable. Toby Hostrup, the outstanding defensive end edge rusher from Katy Maid Creek, a name to know. Let's get to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week, let's bounce to the DFW Metroplex, talk about Grapevine's own, their own defensive end, Brad Stanier, who committed this week to Kansas State, he had offers from places like Army, Yale, Air Force. He's got his academics in order. That is for darn sure. But this is a guy who has been outstanding for Grapevine and now is heading to Kansas State.
Just seems like the type of commitment that Kansas State is known to get, right? Like under the radar, hard-working, hard-nosed style of defender, very versatile, 6'5", 235 pounds, kind of understands exactly what's going on play to play, understands how to read and diagnose. 85 tackles a year ago, which tells me that he's plenty active, gets after the football, shows good pursuit. And he's been praised by the head coach over there for his versatility and hard-nosed play. And those are kind of the things that pop out on his tape and why Kansas State is in Texas high school football trying to mine a hidden gem in Brad Stanier at Grapevine.
Yeah, he's a real hidden gem there in Kansas State. This is a kind of a classic Kansas State recruiting story of like find a guy who's moldable, find a guy who's got good varsity experience, just a good high school football player who's maybe a little bit under noticed, and that seems like what's going on here with Brad Stanier.
Yeah, they feel real good about him. They can't believe that he's hiding in plain sight is the terminology. I think that
because it's not like he's in, like, respectfully to our friends in Alpine. It's not like he's in Alpine,
right?
Ain't hard to find Grapevine. It's right by the airport.
It's right down the street from us, right here.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
It's right down 121. Just go there.
So I mean, like Grapevine is a known program, known for producing talent, and Stanier's 6'5". So I mean, obviously, you go and watch a Grapevine game, you're going to notice Brad Stanier.
I think you absolutely are. Let's round it all out with our underclassmen of the week. Our underclassmen of the week, we're going back down to the Houston area to talk about Willis's junior athlete, Jermaine Bishop, who is now up for Mr. Texas Football Player of the Week after going absolutely bananas in their win over Klein Collins. 5 catches, 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, and also a 64-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. He's Dave Campbell's Texas Football 4-star, and I know you are wild about Jermaine Bishop.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk about him because he's one of those guys that, you know, he's listed at 5'11", 155 pounds. He may be 5'10", but don't let his size fool you. Jermaine Bishop is a dog. This dude plays on both sides of the football, offense and defense, wide receiver on offense, cornerback on defense, does special teams work as well. He's a good return man. And DJ Lagway, in all fairness, DJ Lagway, our Mr. Texas football selection from a season ago, deserves all the headlines that he's getting. 456 yards in game 1. But you should not sleep on or discount what Jermaine Bishop is doing this season and what he did last season for Willis, because Lagway was really good, but he had to have like that guy to turn to. Well, Jermaine Bishop is one of those guys who can score a touchdown anytime he touches the football, and that's why he's an early 4-star selection, and I think that's why you're seeing him start to put up the stats that he's starting to put up at Willis, because Lagway's gone now. He's at Florida, right? They need to turn to somebody to like go to on the offensive side of the ball. Well, they found him in Jermaine Bishop, and there's a reason why he has a who's who of colleges coming after him. I kind of like Oklahoma for him in the early going. That seems like a school that he likes to talk up a lot.
Yeah, it was a good weekend for Willis altogether between DJ Lagway showing out for Florida, and he made a throw. There was people like on Twitter going nuts about some throw that DJ Lagway threw.
It was a million miles in the air, like he's showing that arm cannon off for the Gators.
And I think all of us were just like, yeah, he'll do that.
It was a good week for Dave Campbell's Texas football, but it was Mr. Texas football was putting on for us in the swamp.
Absolutely. He's Greg Powers. He always puts on for us here in the swamp.
Yep.
Follow him on Twitter at GPowerScouts. He has fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting, but don't worry. He's going to stay right here because it would be more of a hassle to move him out of the studio with only a couple minutes left. So, stay there. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment, Final Thoughts. Do we have any questions from the people?
We sure do. Our first one coming from a question that was asked last Thursday, a follow-up here.
Follow-up Friday.
And if so, how many 11-man games had a combined score of 110 points or more?
That's
Do you have that pulled up easily?
I can look that up. Why don't you talk about something for a second?
Oh, while he's pulling that up, I'm going to talk about some teams that didn't score, and one of those was Mansfield Timberview, who got shut out by Denton Ryan 28-0, and that was a game I was at on Thursday night.
Oof.
Dillon, Arkansas, a TCU commit, really led a strong defensive effort in that win. They've got a lot of dudes up front. Are they your number one team in 5A?
Who?
Denton Ryan.
They are number one, 581.
Saw the number one team in 5A, and
looking the part.
Pass out, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
They're frightening. What did we say was going to be the number?
I think we said like 3. Well, it was 3 last week, I believe.
May I present 110 or more?
Yep.
7.
Wow.
Killeen Ellison, 58. Killeen, 52. West Texas, 62. Shamrock, 50. Muleshoe, 74. Lamesa, 42. Grosbeck, 63. McGregor, 53. Hitchcock, 71. Hampshire Finette, 48. Rogers, 63. Schulenburg, 56. And the aforementioned Sudan, 67. Tahoka, 60. We got the points out.
That's pointsy.
Folks. That's right. So there you go. There's a little follow-up Friday for you. What else you got?
This is a good one because Powers is here. Who
good.
has been the most impressive freshman so far? So that would be class of what, 28?
Oh, don't say that. That makes me feel very old.
Romani Edwards, I think he was at Cy Park, one of the Cy schools, has been really strong out of the gates, picked up an offer from Ole Miss. Of course, 2028 is one of those. I mean, these guys are just freshmen, right? Stepping onto the field.
Just a baby.
I've got to say,
I'll throw
I'm going to say this name because I watched him and I thought he was really good. James Foster at Lancaster, 2028 defender. I don't know exactly what he's going to be yet. 6'1", 195 pounds. Could be a safety. Could be a linebacker. I would call him an athlete at this point in his development, but James Foster already starting as a freshman for a 6A program in what I would consider is like the toughest district in the entire country. That's definitely a dude that you should know about.
Let me throw you another one. Jackson Shad.
Yeah.
Quarterback at Pflugerville Weiss. Kind of thrust in there because of injury.
Jax Brown went down with the season-ending knee injury.
2 games. He's completed 77% of his passes for 531 yards, 7 touchdowns, and a pick. As a freshman, playing at high-level 5A football, that's impressive stuff.
I met him at 7-on-7, so he wasn't getting to throw the rock around a lot at that. You know, he was just an 8th grader coming to the event. He was on the team. Definitely passes the eyeball test, and like hours after his first game, Houston offered him.
Yeah.
So like his recruiting profile is on the rise as well.
Yeah. So there's a couple of freshmen. You got 1 or 2 more?
Yeah, one more. Who is West Texas's best hope to make it to a state semifinal in 11-man?
An 11-man. I mean, then you're talking about like, you know, I guess West Texas. So
Lubbock Cooper?
You're probably talking Big Country and Permian Basin, right? Concho Valley, those types of things. The thing is, like, if you want to go into the small school ranks, there's plenty of them, right? Big Country's had a couple of big years here. I think Stephenville is going to be very good, Brownwood, et cetera.
Albany, Stanford.
I'm not giving up on Albany.
Poly.
I'm not giving up Stanford, those types of teams. If you're looking for the big school, I mean, if you consider Lubbock Cooper, West Texas, right? Like, that's a team that's been really good. I don't think this is the year for the Little Southwest Conference 6A, but Abilene is certainly in that mix.
Yep.
That's state-ranked Abilene. They're going to be pretty darn good. So at the big school level, I would say Abilene's probably your best bet, depending on how far you want to expand the definition of West Texas. Because I know that people in the Panhandle get mad if you call them West Texas instead of Panhandle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like North Texas. They should really be North Texas. All right.
Yeah, we're fake North Texas.
We
up
are fake
here.
North Texas. That's exactly right. Powers, you got anything you want to tell the people?
You know what? Just stay tuned. You know, there's a lot of good content here, and sometimes I feel like it goes overlooked. You guys are killing it with the rankings, and if you haven't tuned in, Texas Football Tonight.
Oh.
I got to think that this show this week has been my favorite, from this last week, has been my favorite Texas Football Tonight show so far. Like,
Nice.
it just felt good.
For
you know
sure,
what I mean?
yeah.
Like, if
I
you like
mean-
to watch football and feel good,
Yeah, we've
That's the show.
made an adjustment in the producer's chair, and I think that really changed
100%.
the dynamic. We moved Mallory Hartley into I forget the name of the woman we fired, but anyway.
Well, I mean, I always say the more producers, the better, right? Like, if you had like,
Yeah, if there's one thing that helps, it's more cooks in the kitchen. That's exactly right. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Houston Northbrook head coach Damon Stafford and for Dave Campbell's Texas Football Director of Recruiting, Greg Powers, for being our guests. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please meet your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you Thursday on Texas Football Today.